Hello, everyone. We want to welcome you back again to our broadcast. We had somehow lost the feed. We don't know how that happened, but sometimes things happen. So we reconnected with our co-host today, and we're going to redo this thing. Today, we're going to be
That's
talking
it.
about the effects COVID-19 is having on the real estate market. We have a young man that's going to be on with us today. His name is Darrell Anthony, and he is the owner of DCA Realty LLC in the West Memphis area. And
Mhm.
we're just so proud to have him on, and we're glad that he was willing to be part of this show today. And so, what we're not going to do, we're not going to delay this thing. We're going to go ahead and get Darrell in and bring him in on this thing and let him introduce himself to everyone. And then we're going to have a discussion about the real estate market during this season. Welcome, Darrell. How you doing?
Hey, Dr. Bruce, doing well on this Saturday evening. I appreciate you having me on.
It's so glad to have you. And we hope that number two, round two, we don't have any technical difficulties and everything will go fine. Yeah.
Absolutely. I see the enemy is busy, so that means I know we should be on this broadcast this evening at this time.
Exactly, exactly. That is so correct. So excited to have you on. It's good to for so many of our people to see black business owners willing to come out and tell people what they need to do to be able to get secure that house that they may want, and to see some of our own people doing this kind of thing and not just everybody else. So it's a good thing,
Right.
and we just appreciate you so much for being so willing to be part of this today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it once again just for the invite and for the consideration.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. I want to tell everybody about myself. Dr. Bruce has already told you my name. My name is Darrell Anthony.
Mhm.
I am a native of Crittenden County, Arkansas. I was raised out in a rural area called Proctor, Arkansas, which is now
Mhm.
Anthonyville, Arkansas. I graduated from West Memphis High School, which is now the Academies of West Memphis. I graduated there in 1995. Went on to Arkansas State University, graduated there in the summer of 2000 with an undergraduate degree in human resource management. After that, worked in the business field, and then one day, because I am a God fearing, a faith believing man, one day I was sitting on my job in my cubicle, and I'm typing, getting ready for work. And I said, God, you have to have something else better for me to do because I know I'm not going to be able to work this job until retirement. So, whatever you tell me I need to do, whatever direction you say I need to go in, that's the direction that I'm going to go in. So, hey, one day back in 2005, laying in my bed with my wife, and we're watching TV and we're watching House Hunters and watching House Hunters. And God said, "This is what I want you to do. I want you to do real estate." And I said, "Real estate?" I said, "I can see myself doing real estate." And immediately after that, I started looking into real estate classes, and I ended up going to real estate school down in Kelton schools in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Attended that school and passed my real estate exam, and now I am 15 years in on the journey of real estate. So I survived one of the crucial times before the pandemic, which was back in 2008 when the real estate market took a hard hit due to all of the subprime lending, where a lot of buyers were taking those arm adjustable rate loans, whereas their interest rate would fluctuate after a
Right.
certain period of time.
Mhm.
And I thank God I was just doing real estate at that time part time. Because if I had not been doing it part-time and didn't have a full-time job, I wouldn't have been able to last until now. So I took that downtime during the first housing crash. I took that time to really get to know the ins and outs of real estate. Really took that time to see how I could be able to service clients better when the real estate market came back up. Just like anything, everything is kind of like a cycle. You're going to have your down times, you're going to have your up times. But in that downtime, I took the opportunity to learn real estate in and out so I could be able to service my clients better when the market came back up. And of course, the market came back up and I was prepared to be able to service clients the way they needed to be serviced. And here I am today opening up my own firm back in August. So through that journey, God has allowed me to be able to learn many things, to be able to share with many consumers. And my firm name is DCA Realty LLC, and we're located here in West Memphis, Arkansas at 200 North 13th Street, Suite A. And DCA, my wife and I, she is my partner in the real estate industry. And at DCA, DCA, they have three pillars. The D stands for something, the C stands for something, and the A stands for something. And the D stands for distinction. We want to be able to service all our clients with distinction. And how are we going to service them with distinction? We're going to service them with distinction by educating them throughout the process. By going above and beyond more than what the commission check will ever pay for. Being able to be sure that they are making a wise purchase because buying a home is one of the largest purchases that a human being will make. So if that is one of the largest purchases that you will make as a human being, we must make sure that you're making the right choice. And so we're going to service you with distinction. And so the C stands for compassion. And we're going to have the compassion enough here at the firm, whereas we're not going to rush you into any decision. Because I just said that it's one of the largest purchases that you're ever going to make. So we have the compassion for our clients, not to rush them, but to make sure that they're making the right decision and we're walking them through the process. So they know once they get to the closing table that they know that, hey, I have made the right decision. And because of distinction and because of compassion, the last one is assurance. After we have shown you that distinction and after we have shown you that compassion, you're going to be assured that you are making the right decision when it comes to your purchase. So once we get all those components together, guess what you're going to do as a consumer? You're going to go out and tell all your family members and friends, you all need to go see Darrell Anthony at DCA Realty, or you need to go and see one of his agents. I want to thank God for that. We have 2 agents that are on board at DCA Realty. So you can see any of those agents and they're going to service you with distinction, compassion, and assurance. So with those pillars, what we want to do at DCA Realty and what I really have a passion for is creating generational wealth. Generational wealth for all families. But in the African American community, history tells you that we have been so-called blackballed or shunned in the housing market. Whereas through this journey of being in real estate, I've learned that only 40% of African Americans have homes. So that is a low number, and that's across the world. So 40% only having homes, that means that you have another 60% who families don't have an avenue or have any type of foundation set up for generational wealth. And so that's what we want to also drive to every community that we serve is generational wealth, because a home can also serve as another form of life insurance. Because if you're able to leave a home in the earth realm, when you leave here, if that home is paid off, your children will be able to sell that home and be able to get those funds to be able to take care of the needs that they're going to need to take care of while they're still here. If not, they can always move into that home and just take over the note, or move into the home and don't even have a house note, because a house note is another one of a large monthly bill that the average American has to pay on a monthly basis. And can you imagine not to have a house note, and you out here working and you are taking care of your responsibility and budgeting? That is a big relief. So we're trying to drive that education into the community, so you will be able to basically transform your mind when it comes to housing and how it can be impactful for you and your family. Because that's what we want to do. We want to connect families together, and we want families to be happy. And so that is our goal, and what we want to do here at DCA Realty. And we want to bring up the community, basically playing a big part in the community, not by just real estate, but also just community service. So we are a community-oriented firm, because before I opened up my own firm, my wife and I, we have a nonprofit organization. So we've already been community-oriented. I come from a entrepreneurial background family, so it's always been community-oriented, whereas you're caring about mankind, and you want to uplift mankind, and you want to see mankind get to the level that God had already designed them to get to. And so that's what we want to do here at DCA Realty. And then also, I think before we got cut off, Dr. Bruce was talking about the current market and what you need to do as a consumer during this current market if you want to win or purchase your home. Because right now in this current market, just like it was back in 2008, the inventory is very low. And that is all across the world. Inventory is low, and interest rates are at an all-time low, which is great, but it will even be greater if you had inventory to go with the interest rate. The lowest interest rate back in 08, about 2010, was like a 3.25. Everybody was so happy and joyful. Hey, 3.25, great interest rate. But now I just closed a loan last week that was at a 2.3 interest rate. So you have many consumers that are taking advantage of that interest rate, but once again, there's no inventory. So if you want to take advantage of this current market, there's a saying that says you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So in this current market, you need to stay ready so you won't have to get ready. So how do you stay ready in the current market when it comes to real estate? You stay ready, number one, by being pre-approved already. Being pre-approved, going through the mortgage lending process, filling out your credit application, then turning in your income docs to your loan officer, and letting your loan officer take you through their process to see how much you're going to be able to be pre-approved for. Now, after you get that pre-approval, in this current market, you might not find a home for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So you always have to be sure that you don't let anything impact your credit during the downtime, and you must always be sure that your pre-approval letter is always up to date and it's accurate. So after that pre-approval, anytime a home comes on the market, you as a consumer, if it's something that you're interested in and it's something that you know that you might like, you want to go see that house within 24 hours. Because in this market, and I forgot to tell you, I cover all of Eastern Arkansas, the 5 counties, Crittenden County, Lee County, Phillips County, Cross County, St. Francis County. Then I also go up to Mississippi County, which is in Blytheville, Arkansas. I also cover Craighead County, which is in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And I also cover Shelby County, which is over in Memphis, Tennessee. I cover all those areas. So in those current areas, you can imagine how many people are
Mhm.
on the internet looking on realtor.com and Trulia and Zillow all day long and setting their computers on alert. So as soon as a new property comes up, they're already on it. So
Exactly.
as in this market, once you're not the only one on it, you have
Right.
hundreds others that are on it the same time you're on it. So how
Right.
do you win out in a market like that? You win out in a current market like that by having cash on hand. You're going to need cash on hand in order to win in this low inventory market. Now, why do I say that you're going to need cash on hand? Because I want to put you in the mind of if you are the seller. Okay. If you are the seller, your
Mhm.
ultimate goal as a seller is to make sure that you walk away with as much money as possible.
Mhm.
Okay, so you are going to accept the offer that is going to give you the best opportunity to walk away with more money. And the
Right.
best offer in this current market, you're a buyer, is to go in and say, if the home is $150,000, you don't need to try to go down to $145,000. You need to stick at that $150,000 because in reality, in the mind, $5,000 coming down will make you feel good. On paper and in a house note, it's not going to make a difference.
Right.
So from 150 to 145 in your house note, that's not going to make a difference at all when it comes to that monthly payment. So
Right.
now offer them full price, and then you come in and don't ask for any closing costs.
Okay.
Because what my experience has been since I've been in real estate, when the markets were low and are low like it is now, the offers that sellers are taking is full price and an offer where they don't have to come out of their pocket for any money other than the basically the normal fees that are already going to be taken out.
Right.
So you have to come in as a buyer and already have cash on hand. So if the home is $150,000, normally the closing cost is like 3.5%. And closing costs is covering like your insurance, your homeowner's insurance, it's covering your taxes, it's covering any lender fees, it's covering title fees. All of that is included in your closing costs. And
Right.
normally that's like 3.5%. So, given the example of $150,000, that means you're going to need to have at least $5,250 for your closing costs.
Right.
Now, if you can't take advantage of any of the first time home buyer programs, you're going to, on that $150,000, you're going to need $5,250 times two. So that is what, $10,500. You're going to need that type of cash on hand in order to win these bids in this current market, because every multiple offer situation that I have been in since the inventory has been low, if I did lose it, it was because somebody came in and offered full price and they came in and didn't ask for any closing costs. And then me, as your real estate agent, as your real estate broker, because I have compassion, guess what I do? I come in and say, you know what? To make the offer even sweeter, I would take care of your home warranty so you won't have to ask that from the current seller. So now you come in, you're not asking for a home warranty because your favorite real estate firm, DCA Realty, is paying for
Right. Right.
that home warranty,
Hmm.
and then you're paying your own closing costs. And so
Right.
the only thing that the seller is going to have to pay is number one, the commission that they have to pay to the real estate agent,
Hmm.
and the fees that they're going to have to pay the title company, and they're going to have to pay also for the termite clearance letter, because that's
Hmm.
something in Arkansas that the seller has to pay. But in Memphis,
Right.
Tennessee, the other area that I cover, that is strictly on the buyer.
Right.
So in this current market, you have to have cash on hand if you're going to win,
Okay.
and that's the truth. So that's another thing about DCA Realty and distinction. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of people do not know or not realize that you got to have that cash like that. and they don't realize that you can't, and during this market, you can't really ask people to pay part of anything, because the market
Yeah.
is so scarce that if you don't buy it,
Right.
somebody else will. So if you just offer them the
Absolutely.
full amount, so you can get in the house and have, like you say, have that cash on hand, then
Absolutely.
you can get the house that you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just lost one last 2 weeks ago, and
Hmm.
we're the type of firm, the type of agent that we lay everything on the table out for you, and we give you your options. And I'm saying I let my client know, hey, listen, we are in a multiple offer situation. They have several other offers. The best offer in this situation is going to be what I just described. And I left it up to my client whether or not they wanted to do that. They said, Mr. Anthony, I don't want to do that. I'm not in that current situation where I can afford to do that. So I said, okay, but I just want to give you the heads up before we go in what you're up against. We submitted the offer and we heard back in less than 3 hours. Mr. Anthony, I'm sorry, they took an offer. It was full price. They didn't ask for any closing costs. They didn't ask for a home warranty. So, of course, they went with that offer. Because guess what? Put the shoe on your foot. If you could save
Right.
potentially $5,250 or give it
Hmm.
away, Dr.
Right.
Bruce, what would you do?
Hey, I'm gonna save it. Right.
Yes.
Right.
And
Right.
guess what? I would save it too. I would save it too.
Right. Let me ask you this: do you ever have a situation where somebody will actually offer more than what they're asking for it just to get the house, or do they?
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. But when they offer more and you are going through a loan process,
Right.
and I've had this to happen twice. And this is what I was telling you before we got on the air. Whereas in that home that we offered, the sales price was $259,000. We
Hmm.
offered $262,500. I thought that
Right.
it was going to appraise out for
Right.
262.5. And they took that offer because we offered them more, and we didn't ask for any closing costs. DCA Realty paid for the home warranty. They took that offer, okay?
Right.
But when the appraisal came in,
Hmm.
when you're doing a loan through the lender, the person cannot sell the house no more than what it appraises for.
Okay.
So they had to the sales price that in that particular situation, the home came in at $253,000.
Right.
So the sellers either had to sell the home at $253,000 or just walk away from the deal. Now, if you're paying all cash, I've seen it happen all the time. They'll give you
Right.
five or $10,000 more just to get the property.
Right.
But if you're going through a loan situation, you can say you're going to pay more, but if it doesn't appraise for more, if you don't come out of your pocket with that extra amount of money, then the people can walk away or say, "Hey, I need to really sell it. Keep on selling." So to answer your question, yes, sir, all the time.
Let me ask you this: in a situation like that, do on average do they normally come down on the price, or do they normally just stick with it and find somebody that's willing to pay them and have that cash?
Well, for all of my experiences, they've always sold because they had to sell or they needed to sell.
Right.
This particular situation, the one I just described, the
Hmm.
sellers had already moved out of town and
Okay.
their job was out of town. So they
Right.
had to sell. They couldn't sit on the house any longer. But
Right.
everybody's situation is different. But for all of
Exactly.
my situations or experiences, they have sold.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I
Mm-hmm.
figure that's something that people would want to know um, going into that situation. Now, I got another question I'd like to ask you. Have you ever thought about doing an online class and showing people, explaining to people what to do in these type of situations? Because a lot of people they want to buy a house and they're thinking about it, but they don't. This information that you're giving us tonight, they don't know. So if have you
Right.
ever thought about teaching something like this online?
I have before the pandemic hit.
Mhm.
I was hosting classes at the forgot the name of the hotel in West Memphis, Arkansas, where I
Mhm.
was hosting classes on home buyer education.
Mhm.
So yes, and the classes will be starting back up. So yes, Dr. Bruce, because here at DCA Realty, we believe in educating the people. And going back to the word, he said, hey, people perish for a lack of knowledge. You're
Right.
absolutely right, Dr. Bruce. People do not have that knowledge, and this is what we are here to give them. And this is why I do videos. I have
Mhm.
at DCA Realty, I have Manifestation Mondays, tip of the day, and then I have Flip That Fridays, tip
Mhm.
of the day. So it is during those video times that I do educate consumers on the home buying process, or I educate investors who are just now trying to get in the real estate investment industry.
Mhm.
I educate them on different ins and outs. So yes.
So do you normally do them on like Facebook Live or anything, YouTube, or you ever thought of doing it that way? Because everything is going virtual and people
Uh,
don't want to get in the crowds no more. So.
Right. On the once we start back up, we're gonna have that platform as well when we have the classes where we're gonna be set up. We're gonna be able to do it on Facebook Live and do it on a YouTube channel. But we're also gonna still open that door up for individuals who want to come in. We've already
Right.
set the limit that for the building we have. We can't have any more than 14 people in.
Right.
So yeah, so we're gonna always invite those 14 people out so they can have hand-on-hand experiences with the real estate agents, with lenders,
Right.
with credit repair people, to be able to ask the questions that they want to ask. Or if they don't want to be on camera, they'll be able to come in after the session is over with, and then
Right.
pull the lender to the side or pull the credit repair person to the side and say, "Hey, this is my situation. What do we need to do?"
Right. Right.
And that is another thing that we're going to be offering here at DCA Realty, being able to come up with plans for people who have low credit and they just don't know what direction they need to go in,
Right.
and develop a plan for them to be able to follow and execute.
Right. Yeah. One thing I'm learning through this process, because we're trying to secure property. But one of the things I didn't know about, you can't ask them to do nothing. Uh, you just got to be willing to pay the whole lump, and you got to have your
Yes,
cash
sir.
on hand, and
Yes, sir.
or else you're going to lose out. And
Yes, sir.
when you look at the house, I'm learning, when you look at the house, you need to make a decision right then and there. Do you want it or don't? If you don't want it, walk
Right.
away. If you want it, you need to try to get a contract right then and there, and not ask them to pay nothing. Because if you don't,
Yes,
it's
sir.
gonna be gone. So
Yes, sir. Yes,
I had a
sir.
house that I really liked, but I hesitated, and the next day it was too late. So it's like
Yes,
you
sir.
got to make that decision. You got to be willing to step up. You got to be willing to have that cash on hand. You need to be already pre-approved. All these things I'm learning that you need to have ready so you can pull the trigger if you want it, so you can get it. So.
Yes, sir. And take that leap of faith. Yeah, take that jump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
It's a it's a definitely a different world. It's not like what I was used to in buying and securing property. I'm used to a market to where you had time. Uh, a lot of
Right.
people lose out on a lot of good homes because they hesitate. And in this
Yes,
time,
sir.
uh, one thing I've learned, that it's always cheaper to buy than it is to rent. So
Oh,
so it, it, it
yes, sir.
it's a thing to where uh, when the opportunity comes, I'm just gonna, like you say, take that leap of faith and go ahead and do what we
Hmm.
need to do. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And then it's so much cheaper to buy than rent. And then you have many options when you buy. And this is another thing that it hits the African American community, is that you really don't know the avenues you have when you purchase your property.
Right.
There's something called equity, okay?
Hmm.
And then over a period of years, after you paying on your mortgage,
Hmm.
your equity will increase from when you say you purchase a house at $150,000. 10 years
Exactly.
down the road, that house might be still worth 150 or 155, but you only owe 130.
Right.
Okay. There's a thing called home equity line of credit
Okay.
that
Okay.
many people do not know about. And that's an
Right.
option that you have when you purchase a home, but you don't have that option when you are renting.
Right.
And with that
Right.
home equity line of credit, that right there, that could help you to renovate some things in your home that you want to renovate.
Right.
It can help you purchase your son or daughter a vehicle that they need for
Hmm.
school or going off to
Yeah.
college. It can help you pay a college tuition, or it can help you as an individual get into the real estate investment realm, because you're going to
Exactly.
be able to use the money that you
Hmm.
basically been saving by
Hmm.
paying your mortgage, and then you
Right.
are able to use that $15,000, $20,000 to
Hmm.
make you $50,000 or $60,000.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
these are many options that being a homeowner will give you. And of
Right.
course, everybody has to file taxes. Purchasing a home, you get a tax write-off at the end of the year for the interest that you paid on your home. So it's also
Exactly.
a tax shelter.
So that didn't get cut off during the Trump administration. I had heard things about people can't write a lot of the property off on their taxes like they used to. Has that changed much, or?
Now I can't see it changing because hey, if you own a property and you number one, the interest that you pay on your property, or if you're a real estate investor and you have repairs that you have to do to your property,
Right.
I can't see those things changing, because those are definitely something that you can write off on your taxes.
That's great. That's good to know that you can still do that, because you
Mm-hmm.
hear so many when they say fake news, you hear so many things out
Oh yes, sir.
that
Yes,
you
sir.
don't
Yes,
know is
sir. Yes,
actually
sir.
accurate. That's why it's good to have someone like you come on and be able to share with us so we can get understanding and clarity on this type of thing, because definitely we don't when we go to buy a home, we want to make sure that we are making the right decisions, doing everything the right way.
Absolutely.
So it's good to have somebody that's going to be very informative and not just trying to make a buck. So, because
Right. Absolutely.
like you had said earlier, that's
Absolutely.
going to be one of the biggest investments a person normally make in their life. And especially for us, only about 40% of us owning homes, when it should be a lot higher. Actually, if we own that home, we could actually probably live better because we're paying less on the home than we are renting. So some of that money that we are using, we could use for other things. Sure, you got to put some money back
Absolutely.
for repairs and stuff like that, but there's just so much
Absolutely.
more that you can do with your money when you own a house opposed to renting a house. That house may rent for $1,000, and you may could buy it for 550. So that's
Yes, sir.
$450 difference. And you ain't gonna spend $450 a month on repairs. So it's these are the type of
Right.
things that we need to know that a lot of us
Right.
don't know. So
Right.
having a person like you that's willing to be honest and not just looking at a dollar in your pocket to help us to get ourselves in a position to where we can gain wealth, and that's because that's what we need to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's what I and we want to see in the community that we serve.
Right.
Everybody gain wealth, because now,
Hmm.
if everybody gains wealth, then people are going to get along with each other a little bit better,
Exactly. Exactly.
because they it's not a race. Okay,
Right.
so if you help bring everybody up, that means everybody should be happy, even though people are always gonna have something to complain about. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I can be a multimillionaire and give everybody in the area $1,000. Somebody gonna say,
Right.
man, you know you should have given me 1,500. Okay,
Exactly.
so
Right.
it is what it is, but it's gonna be less people saying that,
Right.
man, you should have given me 1,500 than this 1,000.
Exactly.
So if you bringing a community up, that brings camaraderie. Okay, that brings good fellowship within the community. Okay, and then once you start opening up the ears and the minds of the people, now they're going to start thinking about different ways how they can
Right.
make the home work for them,
Right.
and
Right.
how they can leave things back for their own children. Just for instance, on a 30-year loan, a lot of people do not know that you can pay an extra 2 payments a year, just principal and interest, and it's going to cut that 30-year mortgage down to 20.
Wow.
So, and you can be through paying your home off in 20 years.
Right.
And then another thing for future home consumers that we're going to be educating on is debt to income ratio. Debt to income ratio is huge when you're purchasing a home. Your credit score just gets you in the door, but
Right.
your debt to income ratio gets you where you want to live.
Right. Right.
So, and a lot of people, I did a video on how you calculate your debt to income ratio. So you as a consumer, you know what residual bills you have coming in, going out
Right.
every month, and you know your gross income. So
Right.
I gave out the formula on how you need to calculate your own debt to income ratio. And I also gave out, hey, FHA, they have their own debt to income ratio limits. If you own a first time home buyer program, they have their own debt to income ratio limits. Conventional loans, they have their own debt to income ratio limits.
Right.
And this is what consumers don't know, because most consumers know, like, hey, man, I know I can pay this $1,500 a month. No, I know I coming in every month. I got it. But that's not what it shows on paper.
Right.
You have to be able to have your documents and everything together on paper, because this is what the government is going to go by, not by how much money you have in the shoebox. They go on by what they can see on paper.
Right. 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 Yeah. That's a definite. And that's the kind of information that we need, because a lot of times, people say they come up with a number and they really think that they can make it with that number, and when they go to making that $1,500 a month every month, it's like, whoa, this is beyond what I can do. Or you have
Right.
to what I call a contingency plan. What if something else happened? What if somebody
Absolutely.
lose a job temporarily, or what if your hours get cut, or you got to look at, a lot of people have based their income off of overtime, and then what if that overtime get cut? So it's so many things we have to look
Absolutely.
at uh, when we go to buying that house. Are you buying that house to be just a flaunt, or that house to everybody, or is it buying that house for what you really need? A lot of times we buy more than what we need because we want everybody to see
Absolutely.
that house, and we don't really need that
Right.
much house. I know I
Right.
don't want to be cleaning no big old
Right.
house no more. We've done that. I don't want to do that no more.
That's it. That's it. That's
So
it. What they call it, house broke.
right, right. So it's
House broke. And that's another thing. I'm just plugging DCA Realty. Another thing of distinction. I tell all of my clients, you can be pre-approved for $250,000, okay? But
right,
my question to you as a buyer, how much can you afford every month
right,
and be comfortable? Okay, because even though you are pre-approved for $250,000, does not mean that you're going to be comfortable with that $250,000
exactly,
mortgage payment.
exactly.
So after your pre-approval comes in, my question to everybody is, how much can you afford comfortably? Because I love people. I'm caring for people. I want to put it on the table and say, hey, listen, if you know all you can pay is $900 a month,
Right.
you work too hard every day to come home and be house broke. So get something that you know that you can afford and make it
Right.
a starter home, and then live in that home a certain period of time, and
Hmm.
then sell that home, take the equity out of the house from sale and put it down the next house. And
Right.
maybe that is your $250,000 house. But
Exactly.
get what you know you're going to be comfortable with paying
Hmm.
every month. Now,
Right.
once I tell my clients that, I always leave the decision up to them because I've done
Hmm.
my part as a
Exactly.
broker and as an agent to let you know, listen, now I want you to be comfortable. I don't
Right.
want
Right.
years down the road, your home comes up on realtor.com and it says pre-foreclosure,
Right.
because I want you and your family to be able to enjoy things that you worked hard for. This is
Right.
what
Right.
this is what we want.
Hmm.
This is what we want. And I want you to be able to enjoy it. I want you to be able to come home after a long day's work and not have to worry about a high mortgage payment. I want you to
Hmm.
come home and come home, air conditioning working fine. You have
Right.
your house set up the way you have it set up. You come
Hmm.
home, drink whatever your favorite beverage is, kick back, watch TV, eat
Hmm.
food, enjoy the family, whatever you enjoy to do. This is what
Right.
we want you to do when you purchase a home. Other than
Exactly.
worrying about, man, I gotta make this payment, so I gotta work 30 hours of overtime,
Right.
okay, to even make the payment. And the
Hmm.
whole goal of a home is to for family, to enjoy family. So how can
Exactly.
you enjoy family and you got to put in all this overtime because you have purchased a home that is overextending you in your budget? So
Right.
now it's still taking you away from your family, it's still taking you away from your kids,
Hmm.
and it's still taking you away from your home because you can't enjoy it.
Exactly.
So get
Exactly.
something that you can afford and something
Hmm.
that you can enjoy. I refuse to
Hmm.
to be house broke.
I know that's right. Well, Darrell, we want to thank you for coming on today and being part of this and being so informative. We will probably get with you and think about coming on at a later date and giving more information, because I know there has to be a lot more that you could have informed us on, but you can only do so much at a time. We can only absorb so much sometimes. So, is there anything that you would like to get, any information you would like to get out to people before we get off here? And we'll talk about possibilities of some other things.
Absolutely. I just want to leave my name, well, not my name, but my number,
Okay.
901
Hmm.
283
Hmm.
6384. I'm a real estate agent who works 24/7. So give me a call if you are in the market looking for a home, or in the near future, if you know that you are in a situation where you're going to be ready to purchase a home in the next 3, 6 months to a year, and you want to know the stages that you need to take in order to be ready. Give me a call so we can help walk you through the process, develop a plan for you so you'll be ready to purchase your home, and then live the so-called American dream.
Hey, great, great.
That's it.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here, and we thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and being
Thank you,
part of
Dr. Bruce, for having me.
this show. And uh, we will talk, and I'll be getting with you on a home here in the near future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I look forward to it. I look forward to it. And man, I really, once again, I appreciate you having this show, and
Hmm.
appreciate you inviting me out and taking your time out with me on this Saturday evening. Now I think I'm gonna get ready to watch LSU and Alabama. I think that game is getting ready to come on if it's not already
All
on.
right. All right. And just one thing before I go, we're going to be wanting to highlight more of the Black business professionals in this area. So we may be contacting you about other people that we may can bring on and highlight their businesses also.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, then you take care and have a great day.
All right, you too, Dr. Bruce. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.